I decided to stay in the United States. I am still in California. I live very close to campus, and I am doing fine for what everything is happening. I'm doing good. My family back in Brazil, unfortunately, my mom got the virus. So she figured out at first was a little problem because they didn't have test. So she was able just to make the test when she was already on the 13th day of symptoms. After the test, she was already actually starting to feel better. So she was able to have all the treatment back home. And this has been already almost a month. So she is all okay. She's already not contagion and everything. So I am from Brazil. My state is called Ceará, and the city that I'm from is Fortaleza. It's the capital of my state. And I lived there all my life. I'm the middle sister. I have an older sister and a younger sister. I always lived with my parents there, and life was pretty normal. I went to school. I did my undergrad back in Brazil, and yeah, and then I came to do my master here in LA. So I used to work with neuroprosthetics from arms or legs. And at the time I was not finding any university who was doing a research on this, but I found at CSUN, they had a research on a smart wheelchair. So I had the research on my undergrad before in prosthetics, and then here I did this wheelchair project, and I did with insulin pumps for people with diabetes. So these are the areas that I had work here. General idea, the OPT, you can work for 12 months in an area that you will be using what you learn on your degree. So you would have, so in my case that I'm a mechanical engineer, I would have to get a job on this area. And on my case, since I'm from the engineer major, I can actually do a STEM OPT. That is a different process that can give me more 24 months to work. So in total, I could work 3 years if everything's go fine. The biggest problem of the OPT now is after you receive this card, there's the EAD card called, that it's the card that let you to work. You just have 90 days to find a job. If you don't find on these 90 days, you have to return to your country. You lose this opportunity to be on this program. And the problem is a lot of the companies are closed now. So they are not doing interview, they are not even open. So a lot of us as a student, we actually even signed petition. There was a petition for us to sign, trying to ask them to upgrade this time and give us a little more time, because it's not, we feel it's not fair. It's not, we will not have the same opportunity that the other people to try to find a job now in the middle of this crisis. And the international office, they know they are looking for and they are waiting any answers, but for now they didn't change anything. And it was a little hard for me to be exactly on this middle of this OPT process, because then I could not go to Brazil. Like, you could go, but it's not recommended. It can have a lot of problems because you are changing a little, not exactly your status, but your documentation is changing. So you want to be here to receive all these documents, or if they ask you something. So it's very recommended that you stay here during this process. So I basically didn't have an option. In one way it was good because I didn't have to be in a position of what I do. Should I go? I'm being selfish to stay or something like this. But since I basically didn't have an option, I didn't have to think much about it, and I just had to stay here. Of course, my mom had called me and crying, think like, imagine if something happened with you. You were in a hospital, and I cannot even get a plane, because just like if something really bad is happening with you, I would get in a plane in the middle of this to be with you on the hostel. But now she doesn't have the option. But like, we try to not think on these worst scenarios, because yeah, it's very sad. But of course, as any mom, she get very concerned.
Todos nós juramos um dia dar a vida pela pátria.
My opinion about what is happening in Brazil now, I personally think that they could have handled a little better because Brazil had a little of advantage that the virus got a little later there, or at least was listened about later, like later comparing to Europe, for example, and even a little comparing to here to United States. So they had how to see what was working on Europe, like what worked, like close the city, make the staying home or lockdown and all of this. And I feel that the government was very like, they didn't want to listen. They focused more on the economy. They were worried about the economy and they didn't follow what was working. I know like it's very complicated, something new. So you always worry about like, oh, people die from the virus or people dying without have what to eat. And then if the economy crash, like there is no employees, so people doesn't have money to eat. So it's a very hard decision. So I understand this, but I really think that they could have handled better. And specifically with my city in Brazil, I'm from Fortaleza and was considered the worst city for a while on the middle of the crisis. It was very hard because I had like a lot of friends. I grew up there all my life, so I could listen exactly things what was happening. Plans to go to Brazil now, I don't have any. And I really don't believe things will be completely normal, at least like in a year. So I would not think to be traveling for Brazil at least for a year. So like at least next summer. Like hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully we get a vaccine and things are completely normal in less time. But for now, my perspective is like we still have like a year that things will not be completely normal. Everyone stay strong. I know it's very hard. It's very hard for everyone just staying home and see everything like I think especially for young people, we think like life is passing, that we are missing a lot, that we should be doing stuff. But now the most important things that you can do is staying home and trying to protect more people that you can, because you might survive, but someone that you will have contact with might not. This will pass, even though things are open. It's very important that we keep trying to fight this virus on the only way we have now. That is this one, staying home. Thank you. Bye.